1:30 Central, 11:30 Pacific. Let's kick it off. I see that there are still some people joining. Welcome. I am so excited to be on this webinar today talking E4473, Bravo Systems' latest solution. I've been eagerly anticipating the launch of this product. And so I'm always happy to be on the webinars, but particularly delighted today. So if you've been on webinars with us before, you'll know, Tally, you can flip to the next slide, that we are recording the webinar. We will send this to you. There's going to be a lot of great information and kind of like how to and showing you exactly how E44 works. We don't want you scrambling to take notes. So we will send you this recording later today or tomorrow morning. You also know that we love and welcome participation. We want to make sure that you get all your questions answered. That is a big reason why we do these webinars, so that you get the information you need to make a very well-informed decision about whether or not E44 is the right solution for you right now. And also to gain a greater understanding of why, quite frankly, why we are confident that this is the best solution in the market out there. And if there's anything in particular that you want to get in touch with us about, right after this webinar, feel free to contact us at hello@e4473.com, and someone will be in touch very quickly. So the agenda for today is pretty straightforward. We want to talk to you about why E4473. Tally is going to talk about really what's on the market today, which most of you are familiar with, but why we developed E4473 and why we already have hundreds of people that have pre-registered for it and dozens of people that have already purchased it. We want to walk you through the key features and benefits of the solution, and then also walk you through how it actually works and how E44 integrates with Bravo Pond platform. So any questions that come up, put them in the chat. We'll get those answered. I'll be monitoring that. Like I said, we want to make sure that you walk away with a really solid understanding of what this is and how it's going to benefit you. So Tally, you're the star of the show now. Go ahead.
Awesome, thanks. So first of all, this is something that we first really started thinking about when the 2020 version was announced, because we saw that there was going to be a huge procedural change in the way that firearms are transacted in our customers' stores. And there's really been a huge lack of technology that's gone into FFLs and their customers. So one of the things that we really try to focus on when we develop new products is not just making sure that we're developing for our customers, but also that we're developing for your customers, so that we can make sure that you're getting the loyalty, recognition, and really customer experience that you're looking to provide to your customers. And as we started to do our own due diligence on the market, what was available, we really started realizing there's nothing out there that's an end-to-end 360-degree digital solution, where we take one of the most painful and complex and really the most timely transactions that happens in a pawn shop, and really try to make it accurate, simple, and safe, and reduce the amount of time that these transactions take in a store, so that there's not queuing, that your counter space isn't taken up by people filling out the forms, that you're not having to go in and manually audit all of the work that your employees are doing, and that the ATF isn't coming in and giving you citations because they can't read the forms, or that because you can't find something. And so we really decide to attack the problem head on, and we're the first ones to develop something that's end-to-end, which is really exciting for us. If you know us, we like to be the first to market in products that we develop. And so this was one where we saw the need, we saw the ability to be able to solve the problem. And we basically spent the last 11 months head down trying to be the first to market to deliver something that's really just as amazing as it is. So a few things that the product includes out of box. Obviously, digital signature is included. We built that into the UI for your customers so that there's no more wet signatures for them. We made sure that the data is bulletproof safe. We know that that's going to be a concern of yours. We know that that's going to be a concern of your customers. And so we really went the extra mile to make sure that we're keeping all of the data super safe and secure. and lock down. Digital storage is something that the ATF announced that, we're going to be able to store all of the forms in the cloud. And this is huge because usually federal agencies and government agencies are so slow to adopt technology. And this was really something, when I first read it, I was shocked that the ATF is allowing this, given that just a few years ago, they wouldn't even let the A&D book be kept in the cloud. And now they're letting all of the 4473s be kept in the cloud. And so the requirements from the ATF are really stringent. And what's awesome too is that the ATF has basically allowed us into their calls and into their conversations to make sure that we are creating the gold standard for what digital storage is going to look like. And that's been really exciting to be a part of the process. If you work with the ATF before, you know that it's difficult to get the firsthand information and buy-in from them. And so basically with digital storage, you're going to be able to store all of your forms in the cloud. What's required of you is that you fill out a variance, which we're going to help you fill out. And the variances per the ATF are going to take a little while to cycle through. They typically trigger an audit, but because not all the audits are happening in stores right now, there's a little bit of uncertainty as in when the variances are going to be approved. So if you're interested in that, please email me or email hello@e4473.com so that we can get you off the ground with that and get you in line to get the variance. It's obviously super important that we're ATF compliant. We're actually 100% compliance guaranteed. And then the last thing is the NYX process. The NYX process is now more built into the 4473 process than ever before because the results of the NYX has to be on the form. And so we made sure that we included that in our process so that you're not having to fill things out manually after the customer fills things out. There's not this back and forth. So we're the first end-to-end digital solution. And really what we're trying to solve is so that you can accept 4473s faster, safer, and error-free. We want to make sure that you have peace of mind, that you're compliant, and that your customers are having this superior experience at your store than any other gun store that they're buying from. And what's really awesome is that like the first person that started to adopt this, in the third day that he had it, basically had a customer come into his store and say, I'm not going to buy a gun from anywhere else because this process was so easy, which is basically the ultimate testimonial and the ultimate sign of loyalty, and that we're creating an experience that your customers want and they want to come back to your store only to buy guns. There's really no better testimonial than that, and it was our first one within 3 days of launching. So there's a lot of, I mentioned that we started thinking about this back when we saw that the new 2020 version was going to be released. But really, the process is so different. And I'm still talking to a lot of our customers who aren't really adopting the new process. And obviously, with the change in administration, things probably are going to become more burdensome for people who are selling guns. And so we really want to digitize this process and make it easy so that you're not having to add time or administration or extra headcount to be able to sell guns. So a few things that have changed, and I just want to talk about this briefly in case you're somebody that's in the camp of I haven't changed anything yet. The first thing is the gun has to be identified before the 4473 process begins. And so why that's important with an end-to-end solution is that Bravo already knows all of the guns that you have in inventory or all of the guns that a customer has in loan that need to be redeemed. So there's no dual entry that's happening. So every other solution out on the market, there's this back and forth between the point of sale and the 4473 solution. But with Bravo, because we have the data of your existing gun inventory and items in loan, and we have your customers, we can make this process really seamless so that there's no dual entry happening. So as soon as you scan in the gun or you say there's a redemption, Bravo's going to lock that gun into a particular 4473 that's going to be sent to the customer, and I'm going to show you that. Also, there are significantly more questions on the 2020 version than the 2016 version. And there's actually more spaces that are not applicable if you answered a certain answer one way. There's areas that the consumer has to skip because it's your part to fill out. And if you've ever filled forms out like this, it's confusing as a consumer to know which fields you're supposed to fill out and which as an FFL, you're supposed to fill out. Even for customers who come in and buy guns often, this new form is really different from the 2016 version. So there's not this, oh, well, my old customers are used to doing a certain way, because the way has changed for all of your customers. The NYX check has to be obviously easily found. This is now tying NYX and the 4473 together in a way that it's never been connected before, right? So this is part of a changing, I think, burden on FFLs, where now these two things are going to be linked and they're never going to be unlinked again. And then that answer of the NYX obviously has to go into the form. And so we're making sure that that's a compliant data entry for you when you're not having to manually do that. The 2020 form is 5 pages, so it's much longer than the one before. And each time a consumer makes a mistake, manually, the ATF requires corrective action. Sometimes you're having your customers fill out multiple forms. They have to start from scratch every time. If you're doing it, it takes a lot of time. So I want to jump into some of the screens that are new within Bravo and that your customers will now see when they're filling out the 4473. So I'm going to run through this sort of as a product demo, but really talking through the way we designed this and why we designed it this way. So this is the first new screen. And this screen happens after you've already tendered, right? So we're going to start the 4473 process after you've already accepted tender. And the reason for that is because of the procedural change with the 2020 version. So the gun already has to be identified on the 4473, and so we tender it. And up here, you'll notice we've already identified the item, whether it's a sale or a redemption. We've already completed the tender, and now it's time to start the form, right? So we've got a few things within here. The first thing is a private party transfer. And the gun show, you can put in all the details of that, and that will automatically fill out the form for you, so you're not having to, obviously there's no manual writing on that form. Everything that you fill out within Bravo is going to be put on that form automatically. You've got 2 options for the code. So the first thing is you can print or view the QR code. The QR code can be used on a tablet, on a laptop, with whatever scanner you have. It's an easy way. Everybody knows how to use QR codes now. Alternatively, your customers can just press the, scan the link off of the screen. The other option is to text the link of what that form is for that particular customer of that particular gun, right? Has to be identified. So, excuse me. So this is what it looks like from the customer perspective, right? You send it to their cell phone, or they bring it up on their cell phone, or they're on their tablet. Obviously, this is all optimized, so if it's on a tablet, the screens look a little bit different. Here's the gun that this particular customer, I want to buy today. I'm going to go ahead and click next. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to complete all of the open fields. Now, what's nice about the open fields, they're smart fields. So if you put in the wrong state abbreviation, for example, it's going to flag the customer and say, this isn't the right state abbreviation, put in the right state abbreviation. So you're not having to send it back and having them scratch through an initial and line and all of that stuff with the open fields. On the yes, no questions, the little I's next to every single question are the official ATF instructions. We built that in, super easy to pull them up and close it and scroll it and read, so that your customers aren't coming up and asking questions all the time. This is already reducing the amount of questions that employees are having to answer, because the instructions are built right into the form, really easy to find while they're filling it out. So they're going to go through and answer all of the yes or no questions. Any of the ones are not applicable because of the way that they answered a previous one is going to say not applicable. So there's no confusion in the way that they're filling this out. And then the last thing is that they're going to capture the signature. They're going to click save. And then that's pretty much it on the consumer side if they filled out the form and answered all the questions correctly. So from there in Bravo, you go from the form being completed to the form under review. So we're going to bring in all of the open fields into this grid right here. And you're going to compare the driver's license with the grid, right? If there's any things that they misspelled, like their name, you're going to go ahead and click the box and then you're going to resubmit it to them to fix that field. On the yes, no questions, if there's anything that's problematic there, we're going to flag it. If it's a red, you're not going to be able to continue on with this transaction. So there's a block that happens here until you rectify the way that these questions are answered. So there's two options for you here. You can either deny it and it's going to print that right away, or you can resubmit it and basically send it back. Now, when you resubmit the form back to your customer, they actually get the fully completed form. So they don't have to start from scratch. And we're going to keep the audit trail that this is the second form that they've gotten, and that we're going to attach the first form and the second form. So there's the complete audit trail that you have for the ATF. That's really important to them. So the next piece is a NYX, or the state background check. However you're currently doing this, the process really doesn't change. There's other, the basically way that people are making this really simple is to copy paste. So you copy paste the 4473 answers into the NYX website, or whatever, the LEAP website, whatever you're using. And you can do that by just clicking on view 4473 right here and copying and pasting all the answers over. So that process is still manual. It's just manual everywhere. There's no way to make that more streamlined yet. If there's an API that ever comes out, we'll jump right on it, but there's just not right now. So what you're going to do is you've got your different answers: proceed, denied, canceled, and delayed. If it's delayed, you put in the date that it's delayed to. And then the transaction number, the examiner name, and the examiner number. And these are, again, put onto the form so that you're not having to manually write that in. The last thing is, where are we keeping the 4473s and how can you find them? There's two places. One is in the gun book, which is the most convenient place for the 4473 to be. So you can always open up the gun book and pull it up just on the right side. Here, view E4473. You can also always pull it up in the transaction in void view. So if you go to void view, you can pull it up. You'll see the sale that happened. And then over here, you can see view E4473. And that's where you can pull it up. If there's multiple 4473s, you'll be able to do that. One of the most exciting things for us as we started developing this, and we had it in beta for 5 months, is this kiosk versus cell phone. And we really thought that kiosks were sort of going to be the way that everybody did it, because that was what was available in the market. But what we found is 90% of people actually want to do it on their cell phones. And that makes it really nice for you. You don't have to clean off a kiosk all the time. You don't have to worry about managing an extra piece of hardware. Your customers are comfortable with their own cell phones, and you don't have a queue anywhere, right? So you can have them fill out the form in the corner of your store without blocking the line or standing at a counter space. You can also have multiple forms going at the same time. And to do that, you would just click save and close. So you can actually be helping multiple customers. You can have multiple people filling out forms at the same time, and have all of these different transactions queued and ready for you when they finish filling out the form. So I think we have a question.
Toby has a suggestion in here.
Yeah, the cancel button should have a confirmation question. You've accidentally clicked this button when trying to print the QR code. Okay, that's good feedback. Thanks, Toby. Okay, and last, if you're not using E4473 yet, I just wanted to sort of set out what the process looks like. The first thing is we want to make sure that the solution is going to solve whatever challenges you're facing right now. We'll go through a proposal review. And then after everything's finalized, we can begin implementation. And we can do this right now in 24 to 48 hours. So I've heard a lot of people say it's really busy right now, that it's busy gun season, I'm selling more guns if they have them in inventory. And I would argue that now is a really good time to start this, because you've got the queues and you've got the lines of people, and we're going to cut down on that. And also from a customer loyalty perspective, if they experience this at your store right now, then we know that there are going to be more sticky customers in the future. And after you sign up, you get a personalized project manager to help you train and make sure that you've got basically the process down. You can always reach out to support for additional help and questions. We're doing lots of different trainings and lots of different webinars. Like I mentioned before, if you want a variance, we can help you with that, filling that out. And then of course the Solution Center, we added a new little tile for E4473 where we're posting everything in there. So if you have questions specific to the way that it's working or any buttons or things, you can click in there. The last thing is this product is under complete evolution. And we've got a lot more things coming in the next 6 months. So if you do have feedback, like Toby just posted, we actually have a meeting tomorrow, one of a feedback meeting from existing customers. But this thing is constantly evolving, and it's super exciting. We're already have a few things coming before the end of the year based on feedback so far. So was in beta for 6 months. Like Kathleen mentioned, we've got dozens of people already using it. We've transacted hundreds of guns using it. And so far the feedback has just been awesome. So, so if the denial happens, Dane, that's a good question. We have the refund button built into the UI here. Let's see, it's right here. So no, it doesn't, it has to be paid in full, but we built the refund process in here really simply so that if you've got to do a refund, you've got to do a refund.
Callie, did you want to touch on, because I know we get this question, if people are text messaging that link, is there a cost?
Yeah, good question. So the text messaging through of the forms is waived. So one of the things that we want to make sure is that if you want to use text messaging, that you're not using it because of the 7 cents. So we're waiving the 7 cents text so that you can use that as a way to get that form in your customer's hands. Thanks, Kathleen. Good question. Are there any other questions, comments, thoughts? Kathleen and I want to make this short. I know that it's like the busiest time of the year, so it's fun to launch a product during this time, but also we want to be respectful of everybody's time so that you guys have time to sell.
Yeah, and I would just add E4473.com is our website. It's live. And we were, so proud to launch that. But that is also continuing to grow. There's going to be fantastic content out there. You can, of course, check out pricing and packages. It's very transparent. Get more details on a lot of the key features that Tally talked about as well. So that's also a fantastic resource if you want to do a little bit more digging and evaluation.
You guys are quiet. If you think that this is interesting, maybe post like a yes, it's interesting. Yes, I'm interested. No, this doesn't look that interesting. Are you there? Are you alive? Nobody. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Toby. I'm glad that you love it. All right, well, that's all we got. If you, again, have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me directly or email hello@e4473.com. This is like, launching a product, sort of like having a baby. We're excited to get it into the world, get the feedback, and continue to grow it. And just really the feedback so far has been so positive and so exciting. I think we're all like, I don't know, it's really exciting for us. So thank you so much for being here, and also for being an early adopter. If you're already on the product, if you're an adopter, then you love technology and innovation as much as we do, and we're just so happy to have you as a customer. So thank you. Yes, this video is going to be on Bravo. We'll send it out to all of you guys. We'll send the recording out. You can use it as a training. We also have a YouTube channel, so I can go ahead and we'll send that out. We've already have a few videos up, training videos and promo videos. So
yeah, I mean, that's a good point. So E44, while it's obviously under the Bravo brand, it has its own LinkedIn and Facebook pages. So there's content and posts out there and webinar invites, its own YouTube channel where we'll post these things, obviously its own website, as we mentioned. So, so kind of a whole bunch of other ways you can interact with E44 and get in touch with us. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll send the recording out later today or early tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.